No need for the preamble. Hashtag all hail Chip Gettler.
Ignacio and Nick.
No,
I gotta get my hands right, Nick?
We're going to get to the intro right now, and then we'll get right into it.
Fuck, you guys already saw it? Let me see it. Oh! Shit! Oh!
How you doing?
Yeah! Yeah! Happened with these, and I do not know what the grade is yet, so we are going to find out together. Most likely a 9.8, but man, fingers crossed that it hits one of those higher numbers as well. So let's see. You get to see before I do. Let's see. Oh, yes! Yes! Oh my God! Yes! Yes! You about to get plugged?
All right. So
hello.
The only thing
Hello.
is we thought he was a smug son of a bitch before. Now, first of all, let's congratulate Chip on hitting 700 subscribers.
Congratulations,
Thank
Chip.
you. I think. Not sure.
A few of his videos since Friday have amassed almost 11,000 views. So congratulations on that, Chip.
Yeah, thank you.
And as a smallish YouTuber myself, I wouldn't say smallish. I'll just say small. A small YouTuber. Can I ask, first of all, just one question? I think a lot of people out there in the chat want to know.
Here it comes.
What's your secret?
There is no secret, man. It's all freaking
All right. Before Chip divulges that all important information, let's say hello to the chat. All right, Mr. James. Hello. Larry Green, right on.
Mark, all hail Chip.
All hail Chip. Caleb, how are you?
Caleb, how are you?
Mars. Yes.
Mars again. Oh, hey Chip, indeed.
This is
Cat
one
fan.
of the guys. Lately, I've been enjoying reading all his stuff. I appreciate Cat Fan Comics, man. Thank you so much for the wonderful comments. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Hey,
Brian.
Got the comic book community awards coming up soon next week, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Am I perfecting a Swedish accent right before our eyes?
Is that Swedish?
Oh hell, that might be Swedish.
DJ,
I gotta work on my
John,
French,
Gene.
my French Canadian accent. So we'll try that one too. Shop, hello.
Shop.
Is this
Bada
Flo
boom.
Is this Flo Damery? Make sure you go check out the Bada Boom podcast. And it's Morphin lunchtime.
It's morphing time.
So
it's morphin lunchtime. That it is.
all right. So I think we caught up. As you can see today, our whole to flip or not to flip. I brought Chip on today not because so much of recent events. I mean, it helps, but I want to see it from a few different perspectives. Like for me, I've been reading and collecting and selling comic books for decades, not contiguously, but for a long time. Chip is relatively new into the comic scene within the last 4 years.
Yeah, 2018 or so. Yeah.
And Ignacio has been collecting also since he was a young boy, but he's on the creator side of it. So I kind of want to get a few different viewpoints. So I guess we'll start with me. I have always loved to read comics. I've been doing it a long time. Every single week, I mean, this was yesterday.
Yeah.
And
it's only Marvel.
Yeah, no, this is a whole bunch of different stuff. It's a lot of Marvel, yeah, but there's some indie stuff in here too. From a flip perspective, 25% of this is flip. I'm not gonna say flip. I'm gonna say sell because I think
Sell.
of it. I think of it in a stock environment. I'm trying to buy low, sell high.
Mhm.
There are those things that I do spec on that I look specifically to flip that I know that I'll never read. But yeah, I mean, it makes the hobby all the more enjoyable for me. If I can
Yeah.
make money doing something that I love to do, something that I love to be involved with, it's a whole nother level on it for me.
Yep.
Where do you stand on it, Chip? Being a new guy into it, and I know you love to read books.
Yeah. So being the new guy in the collection industry, as we say, I guess, whatever. Yeah, collecting community. I actually am more of a, like you said, I'm a buy and hold type of guy. I just kind of hang on to things. I have intentions of, oh, I'm going to buy this. Oh, this would be cool. Oh, look at this one's going really good online, and people are talking big about this, and I'm going to buy it as a spec thing. But then I always seem to hold it. I've got plenty of Oblivion song number ones. I've got plenty of things like that that they're slabbed, and I just never sold them. So I'm not a big seller per se. I don't have anything against selling, but I definitely do. I definitely do. I have sold. I have gone to the comic shop. I've gone in and seen a ratio sitting on the shelf. And they're sitting there trying to sell it for $50, and then I just happen to get home and realize that the damn thing's selling for 125 online and eBay. People are posting it up for buy nows, and people are buying it, and I'm like, call the wife, hey, I'm gonna buy this thing, okay? All right, I'm going back and I picked this thing on the top of what I actually purchased, turn around and sold that. But I'm not a really big flipper. I don't have anything against it. I understand, make the hobby pay for itself. And that's kind of what I, go towards is.
All right, Ignacio, how about you? What do you think?
I think I have never sold a comic book that I owned. I mostly give them away to friends to entice them to read more books. But this whole thing to me is like, in my ignorance, it's like gambling at some point. And I don't like to gamble. I don't like to bet. I don't like to risk money because I'm a coward like that. But the main thing is that I don't buy books that I don't want to read, basically, or I don't want to have the art. Or so I understand the market. I understand that in every collectibles in every collectible industry, there's a buy low, sell high aspect to it, and there's a speculation to it.
Yeah.
But what we are talking about today is it goes a little beyond that, and it's when speculation becomes sort of toxic for the community in a way. And it has repercussions that no one thought about. Because, I mean, I think everyone in the chat knows, but if you're watching on the rewind and you don't know what we are talking about, we're basically, what sparked this conversation of to flip or not to flip, when Nick told me that was going to be the title, I thought it was about sex, but it's not. And
well, it's not about that yet. There's always that tangential possibility,
Yes.
Okay, but we are addressing a serious issue here. Not that sex isn't serious, but you get my drift. So at some point in the last week, maybe, last weekend we had C2E2.
Yep.
And a situation happened there in which she was involved and brought to light. And that basically created a chain reaction that no one was expecting, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping we can go through a timeline of the events from when we found out about the existence of this variant cover for Alternate Fallout 4 and now. So I haven't heard about this variant until I saw your video, Chip. So when did you find out about this variant? That was C2A2 exclusive.
Gotcha. So this will be helpful because this will help answer a lot of questions people have been asking me, thinking that I'm a vendor. I'm a person that actually sells comics, and I was in the C2E2 areas with a vendor badge or an exhibitor badge or whatever, and that's just not the case. So I actually arrived at the comic convention at probably around, I'd say 7:30ish, somewhere around 7:30, 7:45. I kind of decided I would, walk up there and where they actually used to give the badges for you, because last year I had a VIP pass and it was mailed to me. And the year before that, or the year that I'd gone prior to that, they had these booths set up where you could go pick up your will call. So Thursday night, I place an order for will call pickup for my badge. I go up there. I go to the area where they're actually supposed to be these booths at, and there's no booths. But that's the area where they're checking bags and going through security. So I'm just like, oh, okay, well, I'll check bags, go through security, not knowing the layout, right? I check my bag, and I go through the security, and it turns out that in reality, I didn't realize until after the fact, after I left the building and got back into it, that I was going through the exhibitor area, that I wasn't even going through like the regular users area. I was going through the exhibitor area. They were checking my bag. At this time, I had no badge. I had no lanyard, no nothing on. And I walked through and then realized that people are just walking up and they're going through the exhibitor and they're going right into the convention floor. So I decided, what the hell? I'll go walk the convention floor. So I actually jumped on Mark Legion's show and I walked the convention floor while at the end of Friday nights or Friday mornings, session that he has every morning on Fridays. Mark Legion Comics. Subscribe and like. Anyway, he ended up.
So let me interrupt you for a second, Chip. So you arrived. You go to the same place you went before, waiting to get to get accredited to enter. Your badge, and they let you enter. Basically,
they let me enter.
They don't ask you if you're nothing.
Not at all. Nothing. Okay. Nothing at all. Matter of fact, I had to walk through the actual alarm section twice, because the first time I walked through, they said, "Oh yeah, you should be good with what you got," and I actually had like some of my phone in my pocket or whatever, and it set off the alarm. So then I had to go back over, and I was talking with social, because I was totally unoblivious to the fact that this was an exhibitor entrance only section. Two, I didn't have a badge. They didn't ask me, and I thought I was getting through this section to then go get my badge to then go into the. I didn't know what the hell I was thinking at that time. Actually, but once I actually got through and I looked and I come around the corner and I look, I'm like, well, there's a convention entrance right there on the other side of the hallway here, and there's no booth. And I'm like, okay. So I just kind of walked up to there, and at that point I'd seen Comic Man Andy and his wife at the entrance area, kind of just standing there talking, and I just kind of walked up to him, said hi for a few seconds, because I'd seen him through the hotel as I was walking through, because I parked in the hotel, and then I just kind of walked in, and he was telling me about their booth, and go check out the whatnot booth. It's pretty cool. Oh yeah, I'll check it out. So I just and that's what I did. I started filming things, walking around, showing everybody on Mark's show this booth. And then I ended up
basically in the wrong place at the right time.
Exactly. Yeah. No kidding. So I was having a fun time. I was walking through. We were showing everything that I could possibly show, as much as I could and they're still setting up, right? The shops are still setting up. There's people that don't even have tables yet. I went by Mint Comic, the Mint Comic Mint, went to their booth. They didn't have any tables at all over there. The girls freaking out, and I knew that's where I was originally. the reason I got there early, and I figured I'll get there early so that way I could actually get the Javon Jordan, hollow foil cover. And because he had showed it online. Other than that, that was the only reason I got there early was, I'll go check that out. And then prior to that, I was supposed to meet a buddy of mine at 1 o'clock there. So I wasn't even planning on going in the morning. And then he showed that hollow foil, Thursday evening. And I'm like, well, shit, I want that. That's cool. I'm going to go ahead and get there early and get that thing. Yeah, try to get that thing. So that was kind of my initial reason for even being there that early in the morning. Just kind of figure I'll just hang out and wait. I'm that type of guy. I'll wait for 4 hours. I don't care. No big deal to me. But it turns out that, as I'm walking around, people started texting me on Instagram. Hey, can you check out this? Can you grab one of these for me? Can you grab one of these for me? And I'm like, yeah, sure. No problem. So I get this, message saying, hey, can you go over to this booth number and can you pick up this for me? And he sends me the image of a 10.0 Ultimate Fallout, and it's kind of I'm on a phone, so I'm just kind of look at it. I'm like, okay, on Instagram, kind of look at it. I was like, yeah, right, that ain't happening. I'm not buying you a freaking 10.0, right? That's kind of what was my thought line, right? And I'm just like, this guy's crack, whatever. But then as I'm going through, then and also this one, a Javon Jordan one. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go to Javon Jordan anyways, so I plan on going there. So that's no problem. And then as I'm walking through, I'm like, well, where the hell is Javon Jordan, here we go, Comment Mint. They're not there yet. They don't even have tables. Let me go further on. I walk farther on, and actually at this point, I go over and I'm like looking for the booth, and I'm like, what booth number? There's no booth numbers anywhere. The numbers aren't anywhere. So I'm trying to figure out what the booth is. And I'm like, okay. And I walk up to a person that was selling comics, and they were putting up their stuff in the comics. And I asked them, what's your booth number? And then they said, oh, we're from blah, 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 Minnesota. And, nice to meet you. We have a lot of good comics. And I'm like, oh, yeah, but what's your booth number? Because I didn't know it was Black Plague at the time, right? So then finally,
which is also on Mark's video too. That whole part, that whole.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
On Mark's video, yeah.
That's right. Because I would. So at that point, I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, to me, I'm sitting there like, okay. So I realized, oh, it's right behind me. Okay, cool. Well, I walked by there. There's no one there. Like, it's an empty booth. And I'm just like, all right, whatever. I'll go walk around some more. So I did the old walk around, and I would say somewhere around maybe 8:15, 8:20 maybe. Yeah, maybe 8:15 or so, somewhere around there, I guess. I don't pay attention. I don't remember when Legion cut off, and I walked over. I walked back over there, and I realized there's a couple of guys standing there. So I walk around a little bit more. And then I come back about 10 minutes later and realize that now there's a line of about 40 people. And I'm like, holy shit, what the hell are all these people waiting for? Not thinking that they're waiting for a Creighton Klein exclusive, 10.0 type of thing. And I'm just like, okay. So I actually tap on the guy.
There's something going on,
yeah. Yeah, I'm like, hey, dude, what's everyone waiting for? Thinking, okay, maybe they're waiting for a signing. I don't care about a signing. I was just here to get a comic or whatever. I don't know. And he's like, oh no, we're waiting for the exclusive, the Comic-Con exclusive plus Clayton Crane. I'm like, oh shit, okay, well, I'll stand here then. So I just kind of stood there and waited.
Let me pause you there, Chip.
Yeah, please.
Just for a second. I want to go to another part of the story, the outside part, because up until this point you didn't even know this was a thing.
No,
you weren't expecting this to be an event of, okay, I'm going to have 40 people in front of me before I can buy this, because you passed by twice in front of this booth, and there was little people to no people there. And I understand that because I have worked in conventions, and the fact that one can see how everything comes to life, it's pretty appealing. So I understand your appeal, the drive to go around and see how everyone is setting things up, because you always see all things already working and people going around, but see it all being built and being assembled. It's an interesting part of the convention. But
I agree. Yeah.
Outside this thing, Nick, you were aware of this cover. Why?
Friday morning, I get up, as I usually do, wipe the sleep out of my eyes, try to get beautiful. Put on the community hangout as I usually do Fridays. And I saw Chip was on, so I'm watching the guys follow up and start to talk for the morning. And I'm scrolling through Instagram, and I just happened to see Clayton Crane said he wasn't going to be at C2E2 that morning. I was like, all right, well, this is a pretty cool cover. I mean, anything with miles nowadays is a hot commodity.
Yeah.
So I'll ask Chip to, I know he's there. I says, I'll ask Chip, I'll DM Chip to pick me up one of these covers. Not thinking it's going to be the shitstorm it turned out to be. And I mean, this is a practice that every single comic book person does. There's nothing new. I feel there's nothing.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, I feel there's nothing wrong about it, and it's just one of those things. Hey, I'm not in Chicago this weekend, but there's a really cool cover. Pick it up for me if you can. Not a big deal.
Yep.
I didn't realize that I sent you the 10.0 picture. That's not what I was. It's not what I wanted. There's no way. There's no way. Like, even when you told me they were $85, I was like, damn, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. So what Nick's referring to is, so we're standing in line. We get moved from going a straight down the hallway, the aisleway. They decide, well, instead of us covering up other people's booths, take us around the booth. Now, the booth itself is square. And so let me first start by, as I'm walking up, I realized that Comic Man Andy and all them are, sitting there because they're in the line for the 40 people. I walk up and I see him up in front of me, and I'm like, oh, cool, right? So I end up, standing there and talking to the guy, 40th person, we'll just say 40th, because I didn't count, to be honest with you. I'm just guesstimating. And about 20 people up from me is Comic Man Andy. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I go up and I talk to Andy and his wife, and had a good conversation with them for about 3 minutes or so. And looking up to the front, and I insist on making sure this is well known, that up in the front, there was a group of the guy with the orange shirt, the guy with the blue shirt, right? Those were the two people I seen there when I come walking through a couple times. But also, Skep was up at the front of the line. Nerdy Girl was up at the front of the line. Javon Jordan were up at the front of the line, as well as some other people that Nick had told me one of the guys' names. And I went to his webpage, our Instagram, and I see he took a photo of those grouping of people, including the guy with the blue and orange shirt. I can't remember his name of his channel. But he actually was the one that actually posted a picture on Instagram, and all those people were they were in line. They were at the front of the line, and they were getting ready to buy comics, right? And I look up and I see all of them up there talking to Andy, and I see Skep with his hat on, and I'm like, oh, hey, he's got this big yellow W on his whatnot hat, and whatever. So go back to my spot, number 40, hanging back there. They tell us, hey, instead of covering up these booths over here, let's get you guys around the other side of the square. Okay, great. So in the center of the square of their booth is these 8-foot panels that are covering up the center of the square. And then they've got aisleways, and then they've got tables going in. It's more like a rectangle. So we're like, okay, well, so I'm kind of kitty corner to where Comic Man Andy is now. And I see him, on one side of the panel, on, the opposite side of the booth, and I'm on the other side, opposite side of the booth. So, and then behind him, I realized that Jem Mint's wife, who I believe it was Jem Mint's wife, was standing there. She's got a little short box with her, and she's standing there, probably like maybe 3 or 4 people behind Comic Man Andy. So I'm, texting Andy, and, he asked, hey, do you know how much these are going to be costing? And I'm like, I have no idea. So, because neither of us knew, right? Didn't know whether there was a limit, didn't know anything. Actually, the reason Andy said he brought his wife was because he figured he'd get 2, because he went to another convention, and that's what they were doing, 2 and 2. So he said, I'll bring my wife, she'll get 2, I'll get 2, and we could use those and sell them, whatever, do what they got to do with them. So as we're standing there, all of a sudden, about 8:40, I believe it was around 8:40, 8:45, between those times, they decided that they would start striking the credit cards, and start letting people start buying. Now, the doors don't open until 10 a.m.
Okay.
So, So 10 a.m. the door is open to the general public. VIPs go in first. Once VIPs go in first, and I think they let them in 5 minutes early. Once they go in, then they open it up to general public, and then let everybody from general public come in. So I'm standing there waiting, and all of a sudden you start hearing, hey, I need 35. Hey, I need 35, 40. I need another 40. I need 85. And I'm sitting there like, okay, there's 750. I'm number 40 in line, and there's a lot of resellers from Whatnot sitting up at the front of that line. I'm like, what the F is going on here? Holy shit, they're not going to have... At this point, I wasn't even worried about getting my 4 comics, right? 2, 1 for me, 1 for Nick, and 2 to sell. I'm more worried about, can I get 1 comic for Nick, right? Because I'm like, these things are going fast. Cat in front of me, he's freaking out. Cat in front of him's freaking out. The guy behind me's freaking out. And I'm just like, holy crap. The guy who was in front of me, he decided, fuck it, I'm out of here. He left after he got, waiting. He's just like, fuck it, I'm not going to get a comic here. I'm out of here. So, and literally, he wouldn't have got he probably could have, after the guy pulled the batch. But
let me ask you this, Chip.
Yeah.
So you were talking with Andy, and he said that he was worried, and that's why he brought his wife, because he thought they were going to limit the amount of comics one could purchase.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
I think if I'm correct in this, the usual practice is they limit the amount of comics you can buy when it's an exclusive like this one.
Right? You would think they would.
They do. So what I want to do is I want to clarify up into this point. All right.
Yeah,
so
please do.
Chip got in through his own huge cojones. He got on the floor early. No, there was no privilege there other than just a shadiness and a sneakiness on his part to walk through, and then just a complete failing of C2E2 security to just let somebody on the floor.
Yeah, they just let me in.
All right,
I didn't have my badge until 12:30.
Right, there we go. All right, that's point number 1. I see around that time, I see this exclusive being ordered. I thought maybe I wanted one. I know Chip is there. I'm going to ask him to get it. Chip is perusing the floor, passes by Black Flag once. They haven't said
Wait a second, Nick. At this point, you are also unaware of the heat around this cover.
No, the heat didn't come till later. There was a lot of there was a lot of outrage, of course, as it's being reported, and as things happen online. But there's no.
But at this point, there's nothing of that.
No, there's a line waiting for this exclusive, right?
Okay,
yeah,
that's it. Okay,
that's all. So we also have a lot of people, a lot of the bigger whatnotters taking heat for possibly skipping the line.
Yeah.
Okay, so Skef, Nerdy Girl. I'm not sure who else I was talking about. Comic Man Andy. They, as far
it starts
as
with it's like Mass something.
No Mas Comics.
Yes, No Mas Comics. That guy. So if you go to his Instagram page, he has a picture of all the people that are there with tags to their Instagram, and they did a big selfie, and those are all the people that was the front of the line right there. That photo right there. So I'll be honest, it's bothering me that people are attacking Nerdy Girl. Trust me.
We'll get into that point.
Exactly.
That's a good point, but we'll get into that one later. All right. So at this point, up until none of these whatnotters being called out for cutting the line have cut the line. It's possible they had wives, loved ones, whatever, waiting there. That's a practice everyone does.
I would
not only in comic book conventions. I did it for my son at Six Flags earlier this summer.
This month?
Something that happens in every convention. We always ask somebody to grab stuff for us if we're not there. We'll always ask.
It happens everywhere. It's not the issue here. The issue is how it was handled, not from the public, but from the
issues
seller.
come in later on. Okay, so at this point, we have people in line. We have some of the bigger whatnotters, and I won't call them influencers because just whatever. Buying up a good majority of the 750 print run.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, at this point, we'll take it back to Chip who's now
Yes.
40th in line. People are dropping off the line in front of him, and he's worried if he himself is going to get a copy.
Exactly. So as we're standing there and we're waiting and we're hearing these numbers come over, and the girl's pulling them because she was on our side of the table, underneath the table, grabbing and counting and putting them off to the side and moving them over to the register and or to an area where someone can pick them up. We start realizing that what's happening is it's a rectangle shape in the far two right-hand corners, if we're looking at the camera. Okay, so like up here is a register and over here is a register, right? So the top, there's two registers, like if you're looking at my camera. And
you are like graphic at this point.
And yeah, I'm like right over here. I'm like right here at this point in the thing. So I'm not seeing, because there's a big, huge thing, in the middle. I'm not really seeing everything that's going on at the physical registers because of where my camera, where I'm standing in relation to the actual registers. But so I didn't even realize that there was two registers at the time. But what was happening was we started noticing that people that were coming up to this. I mean, if this was my thing, people were walking up to the actual booth right in this section here and just walking up, being handed comics, given credit card, and swiping and going. And then we started realizing that a lot of them were exhibitors and possibly YouTubers or whatever, popular people. I don't know, because I wasn't, I don't know all the players.
Okay, so Chip, I'm going to stop you right there. And Iggy, this is where one of the pain points comes in.
Yeah, I have a question about this.
Black Flag, they state that all of these deals were handled and set up beforehand.
Yeah, as pre-orders. As one can
pre-order,
say.
Right? Which, and I'll tell you my take on it is, if all of these people are gonna buy all of the print run, call it a whatnot exclusive and let them do this. Don't even offer it to the people there, because this is what's gonna happen. Not everybody's gonna make it on, and then it's gonna be a whole big thing.
That's one of my questions. How did the Whatnot people find out about this? I saw Mark asking this in the chat, and it's a really good question. Why did all the Whatnot sellers converge there? Why did they go there? Did Whatnot tell them, hey, go get this? And for example, was there any signage there that said these people get priority or something?
No, not at all. There was even no signage showing you what was being offered out as a. There was nothing out there other than up until the moment they got up, they came into the booth. Then they started pulling out a couple of comics to put on little racks in front of the booths, and especially at the register. At the register, they put the exclusives, the three exclusives, I believe. There was the 301, and then I think there was the Ultimate 4, and then I can't remember what the third one was. Let's be clear. Up
to this point, there's still like an hour or a little more until doors open, so they have time to prepare for the people.
Exactly. Exactly. So, and that was the thing. My thinking was right off the bat, okay, so we're sitting there, we're watching. The guy in front of me is getting all flustered and pissed, and he's ranting and raving. Now, he's got an exhibitor badge, right? He's an exhibitor, so he's there. The kid behind me actually was hired by an exhibitor to come in and set up a booth with him, and then said, okay, that's cool. I paid you $500 or whatever. So this kid just like, hey, you need me anything else? No, I don't need you. We're good to go. Okay, well, hey, I'm going to go hang on that line over there in Crane. And so he walked up and he started hanging out behind it. So it wasn't as if, he was kind of there as an exhibitor. So everyone up, I would say there's probably like maybe 5 people behind me were, I was maybe the 45th person was probably all exhibitors. So the first 45 minus me, because I wasn't. And Jem Mint's wife isn't an exhibitor, but she was part of the exhibitor group. So it's kind of like, I guess you could say they were all exhibitors from within the show floor. They had early access to it. They had access to it. They stood in line. They waited, right? And I had no problem with that at all. I mean, to be honest with you, you get there early. Pot calling the kettle black. I was there early. I stood in line. Whether I was
there's certain privileges
or not.
To being there early. I mean, when I was working on the convention, some people came in like a day before. We already had the thing going because we were handling all the logistics of the technical stuff, and some people from the booths or the stands asked us if they could come a day before to make it more of an art installation and whatnot. So we gave them access like a day before, and that became a common practice. And sellers ended up selling their stuff to each other before the people even come out the next day. And that's part of the game. I mean,
all right, so
fair.
This is my problem with it. That's all well and fine. If you're going to sell before the show starts, and I'm sure that happens every single convention, every single show, no matter what.
Yeah.
Take an amount of the print run, hold it just for those people.
Yep.
All right. Say that there's 250 available to the general public. And make sure that the people who are there to buy the exclusive, who were not there beforehand, let them get their things. Give them the chance. All right. That not everybody is going to get everything all the time. And that's not the way it works. That's not the way it should work.
Yeah. No, I agree.
It's not good business. I mean, Nike limits their shoes just to make sure that they're a heat that people always want stuff. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's part of the game.
And this is the other added thing, the other facet to it. All right.
Hey, Justin.
Clayton Crane sells out everything he does. All right. There's only one or two covers that I think recently that he did for Marvel's Star Wars that nobody really cared about. If he does anything, it's going to sell out. It has sold out on blackflag.com, in the conventions, everywhere he goes, people just want his stuff. All right. That's point blank. So I think that added to the heat. So
exactly.
To Justin's point, I think, and I might be talking out of my ass here, but were they pre-orders? That's the point here,
See, I want to try to get this. It's very easy to get this off into tangents. I want to just try to do this as linear as possible and then try to take points as we go. All right.
Okay. Let's go.
So at this point, Chip, you're 40th in line. A good deal of the print
by this time, they've gotten around 5, 6, 7 people have gone through. It's taken about, it took them a good probably 20 minutes to get those 4 or 5 people through because they had to count up all the comics and stuff. And so even Andy made the comment in a live that he was on. So we start moving to the side, and we realize that, as we're getting further and further down the line, and we're seeing more and more people buying these big bulk, comics, and people are just walking up to an area that is alongside the registers. And actually, because at some point you can kind of see a little bit, I think I sent a photo of people, standing over there, and, and then you could see that as the vendors or exhibitors, shall I say, or whoever was walking up and they were getting their comics handed to them. I'm like, well, these people definitely weren't in line because I had seen who was in line up there. I don't know everybody was in line, but I know that these people were not in line, and they're just walking up, grabbing and going, and paying and going. And, so that's where the whole cutting in line came in, was they had probably been doing that now.
Okay, that's a good point. Sorry to interrupt you. But if you're pre-ordering, then you already paid. Am I correct?
You would think, yes.
That's what the word is. That's what the word
That's
means.
how it works. So if you're going to basically pick up a pre-order, you don't need to pay because you already paid your pre-order. So that's it.
Especially if somebody orders $16,000 worth of comic books.
Exactly.
I'm going to want money, not a word. Now, let me ask you a question, Chip. Up until this point, have you asked any questions of the Black Flag staff at that point? Prices?
Oh, yeah.
What was going on?
So as we're sitting there, we actually, the girl that was pulling the comics herself, she actually then, made a comment about, she threw them up on the table, and then someone behind us said, "Hey, how much are these?" And I heard her say they're 85 for the comic and then 60 for the actual ASM 301 homage covers or whatever. Yeah, I think it was 301 or whatever it was. So I was just like, oh, okay. So I actually then texted Nick, all right, 85 for this and 60 for that. And he's like, okay, I'll send me your information. I said, you might. I said, wait, hold on, because dude, I don't even know if I'm gonna get you one, man.
Yeah.
So, and then I jumped over and then I sent Andy, because he was asking me what the cost was, and I didn't think he was in a position he could hear what the cost was. So I sent him a message saying 85 for this, 60 for this. By the way, if you got a chance to buy me one, give me one and I'll pay you, because at that point, if you would have got one, I would have stepped my ass out of line, bought it off of him. Here you go, Nick, and we're done. Right? Because at that point, I was kind of like, I'm done.
Yeah, at that point, you don't even care about your own book. You're just there to buy one for Nick.
Yeah. I just want, So, but then it would turn out that, like, as you're going on and the guy in front of me is getting stirred up and he's, oh, I hate that guy, and oh, I hate this guy, and I hate that guy, and the guy behind me is like, yeah, they did this at Terrificon too, and they sold out real quick, and I'm just like, really, they did? I knew nothing about it. I'm like, okay, whatever. So
they are hating on customers, or they are hating on.
They're hating on the influencers, the vendors, the exhibitors, the whatnotters, the people that were up towards the front of the line, because they're seeing these guys just walking up and buying in huge bulk, and that's what bothered them.
They are angry at capitalism. Okay.
Right. So solution number one, Black Flag should have put a limit. That's it.
Maybe. Yeah.
All right. Not two per person. Maybe two per person. Maybe
whatever.
They could have been 5 or 10
pre-orders
it would have been fine.
Yeah, and if pre-orders are available for real, then you can buy whatever if you pre-order.
Or maybe
whatever the amount you want.
Right. Maybe
if you're there on the booth.
Right. Maybe 5 or 10 until 3 hours past door open, and then whatever happens. So that's where Black Flag messed up. Number one.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chip.
Yeah. So
let me ask you this, Chip. While you were in the line, how many employees are there for Black Flag? Give or take.
I think there was
like
5. I think there was 5. Yeah. Yeah. There was.
Okay.
I know there was someone there
and they were only handling this issue. This shell. They are not selling anything else for it.
Well, I would imagine that people are buying the 301 exclusive also. Whatever exclusive those guys have from Crane that people are buying.
Yeah, there were people that were buying the 301, but the 301 wasn't selling like the UF4s. And there was one guy.
How did they look? Did they look like anxious or nervous about the whole long line situation, or they were expecting this?
Well, okay, so how do I say it? Okay, so when they started the process, there was only like 50 or 60 people in line, and then all of a sudden, by 10 o'clock, the gates opened, people started coming to the booth. Then it added on another 100 and some people probably.
Right. So now human nature comes into the long line as well. People don't know what the long line is for. They're going to gravitate towards that because that's just human nature, And then you have people waiting in huge lines. And if you've ever been to C2E2, that line they have is immense.
Mm-hmm.
So people are on their phones, of course, checking out whatever people are Instagramming from at this line, and they're going to make a beeline right for it. So
Yep, exactly. So with so by 10, I would say by 10:05, 10:10 at the latest, there's a long line of about 150 people, 140 people now at this point. I was 40th, now I'm probably in my 30s, right? I probably 10 to 15 people have already gone through the line and have already processed through their orders. But while you're standing there, you're
in about an hour.
Yeah, probably about 45 minutes, half hour to 45 minutes. I would say about a half hour there, because they started about 9:40, and then by maybe 10:10 they were they were good to go. You know, they were actually had a full line for the most part going out the door.
Okay.
You know, and while all of this is going on, of course, the way that they had to set up that area where the people were just walking up to was wide open tables. You know, the whole one corner, this whole corner from here up and then over this way, this and then this way was all just wide open table before, you know, alongside the register. And so the guys who were buying comics, and I did it myself, would buy the comic and they'd pay for it over here. They'd come over to this side of it and they'd start organizing their stuff together. Well, then you had, unfortunately for Scuff, you had him who was buying a huge amount of product and, you know, had a short box that was jam-packed full of comics. And on top of it, another couple of stacks sitting in front of him that wouldn't have fed in that short box. And that was pissing people off because, you know, Scott's a jovial guy. He's joking, he's laughing, he's having a good time. And that rubs people the wrong way when they're standing in line hoping they can get one. And you're sitting there with a freaking short box full. So that started the whole, holy shit, what the F? This place is, you know, and going off and just people just blasting big time, all of the, you know, that whole thing up there. And, you know, and I fell into that process of, you know, it started festering in me a little bit, like what the, you know, because I was trying to get at least one, right?
I would have get pissed off
so
too.
Yeah, so as we're going through and we get farther down, and now I'm at probably the bottom section over here and this section over here, the gentleman who works there, gray shirt guy, I called him, he actually, you know, we're asking him, like, dude, are you guys going to have enough to sell for us? And he's like, I don't know, man, I don't know. But we do have some slabs. We brought some slabbed ones as well. And we're like, oh, really? Yeah, we have a 9.8, we have a 9.9, we have 10s. Well, how many you got? Well, we brought 2 of this, 2 of that, and 2 of that, and 110, 2 9.9s and 2 9.8s or whatever. Oh, really? Yeah. So as we are scrolling through and we're going through to this end and we get up to about this spot here in the line, and we're probably, you know, the register, of course, is over here, you know. So at this point, we're like, all right. So I asked the guy, you know, the guy, actually the kid behind me, asked him, he's like, hey, do you got that 9.8? He's like, yeah. So, oh, well, how much is it? It's 500. So the kid behind me is just like looking at it, and then he puts it down. Well, he puts it down, and I look over at it, and I'm like looking at the line, and I see some guy up at the register and they're counting and they're building, and he's counting his wads of money, and I'm like, oh shit, this guy's gonna buy up freaking a whole shitload of stuff. They're not gonna have anything left. So I grabbed the slab, put my credit card on it,
and you secure the slab.
And I'm like, go for it.
Okay, so we'll stop at this point. Iggy, this adds another facet into it, because later on it comes to they were charging that price on the CGC slab. It not only had a blue label, which is another thing we'll get into, it said 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Not even a book produced in 2022, and we're well into 2022. So it wasn't. It turns out.
Let me get this straight. This is a reprint of Ultimate Fallout 4 with a variant cover by Clayton Crane with an added acetate cover on top of it. Am I correct?
Correct.
And the Black Flag people produced the thing, the Clayton Crane cover, exclusively for them.
Yep.
And then they added the unauthorized.
We found out it was unauthorized later, and it was found. And I don't know if this is true, but Marvel, if you want to buy an exclusive from Marvel, you have to buy 3,000 trades. You're allowed 1,000 virgins. That's it.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, you have to do a whole nother set of that to produce another thing.
Run. And
another 1,000 virgins.
Yeah. Another 3,000. Yeah, if you want to do anything. So it was uncovered that, and I no pun intended, that essentially Black Flag took this cover, this acetate with the, it had a typo also. That's another thing.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of issues with it, really.
But host of errors. But Black Flag essentially stapled this cover onto the existing facsimile.
So let me ask you this then. If that's the deal with Marvel and you need to produce 3,000 comics for a variant, then there should be 3,000 Clayton Crane Ultimate Fallout 4, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I bought that facsimile last year.
Okay, there you go. That's it.
But the thing is,
that.
now the fact that they added that acetate cover, that
like Poke and Joe did.
Right, like Poke and Joe did. Well, and probably not as good as Poke and Joe did. But now it negates the authenticity of the product from Marvel. Marvel did not license that product to Black Flag. So this adds into another thing we'll get on after Chip finishes his story.
Yeah. Okay. So we actually you know, kind of speed things up a little bit. We go through the whole process. We get up towards we're starting moving up closer to the register. The guy actually grabs the slab from me, says, "I'll put it up here by the register. I'll let the girl know this is for you." I said, "Okay, great." We get up to the register. We're like within like 3 away from the register. A girl in front of me is buying this other exclusive or whatever she's buying, and then the guy in front of me, the gray, you know, he's buying. The guy that was mad, he wanted, you know, the Ultimate Fallout 4. The kid that was originally in front of me, he left. He's like, "I'm out of here," and I didn't even realize. I was like, "Oh yeah, he'd leave." I was actually at lunch, and he was like, "Dude, did you get it?" I'm like, "Wait, what?" He hit me up on YouTube, you know, at that point, or you know, on Instagram, and I didn't realize it. So, anyway, needless to say, we went ahead and I decided, okay, I'm going to buy this slab, and then we get up towards the front, and as soon as we get up towards the front, they come back and they start scrambling around looking for more of these Ultimate Fallouts. They're like, "Where the hell are they? We don't have. You got them here? I don't have any. Do you got any? I don't have any." So they're back forth. Well, the guy from the gray shirt kid, he's actually standing in the back of the booth, like this section over here, and there's an actual short box sitting there, and it's sitting on a counter up above, about chest high. And he says, "Well, yeah, I've got some in here, but I need 30 more for this box. I need 30 more for this box for this customer." And the owner of the shop is just kind of like walking around and they're looking. He finally comes back. He goes, "You got some in there?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "All right." He goes, "You know what? I'll worry about that later. We'll deal with it." He grabs a handful, walks over to the counter, sets it down, and then I don't know the name of the company that was buying the last big batch of it, but it was like 36 comics or something like that, 36 of these Ultimate Fallout 4s. And they didn't have enough to fulfill his order. He went ahead and they ended up pulling some more out and gave him his order. That guy ended up paying, you know, with all the cash, he ended up paying. And then once he paid, then it was like the next person in line was the girl, then the kid in front of me who was angry, and then me. So as soon as he did that and the guy paid, the owner of the shop comes walking over to us and say, "Hey, listen, guys, I've seen the distressed look on your faces. I appreciate you sticking around. I'm going to go ahead," and we pulled out some from another box over here for another customer. "We're just going to go ahead and we're going to sell some of these off." He goes, "But you know what we're going to do? We're going to limit it to 2 per person. And we're going to charge you $100 now instead of the $85 per comic."
Okay.
So at that point, I'm just like, yeah.
We're fucking you over. We're fucking over this customer that hasn't come yet. And
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So all right. So we'll backtrack for a second. You said there was 6 slabs. Okay. There was 2 9/8s at 500, right?
Yeah, 9/9s at 750.
There were 2 9/9s at how much?
1250.
1250, and then 2 10s at.
There was 110. There's only 110. 110 at 2,500. Yeah. And if you look at the CGC census, you'll see that there was like 10 actually submitted, 110, 2 9/9s. The rest of them were 9/8s when they got graded, which is totally
Let me ask you
different.
this: how much is the original Ultimate Fallout 4 in a 9/8 worth?
You could probably.
It fluctuates. Like the past year has been going between $2,000 and $3,000.
Okay.
Yeah, an original. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So at this point, they not only see the people
TJ.
waiting online, they see the people
Yeah.
waiting online on fire.
Oh,
with the
yeah,
next,
yeah.
with the next thing, they proceed to piss on them and tell them now that there's a limit and we're going to upcharge you now.
Yep, exactly. Limit and upcharge you all within one shot.
So
Which
I
is
got
okay.
to imagine you wait in line all this time. You're not going to say,
Oh, I'm not gonna say fuck no.
yeah,
I'm gonna say
You kind
fuck
of
it. I waited
got to
this
bite
long. I'm
that
getting
puss.
something. God damn it! You know, I've been in line for an
Yeah.
hour now. I'm waiting, and I'm getting something. I've been like an hour and a half or whatever. I'm getting me a freaking comic. You know, no matter what. So
Right.
I was like, well, fine. Okay, you're gonna give me 2. That's fine. Got the 2. I look over. I see the 9.8 laying on the table. I'm like, yeah, okay, great. I'm taking the 9.8 as well at this point because now I'm like, fuck it. You know, I was whatever. You know, I don't know why. I'm like, I'm taking the 9.8 as well. So I went ahead and got the 2. No, I'm giving 1 for Nick, 1 for my personal collection, and you know, get the 9.8, and who knows, whatever. You know, torn apart what I'm gonna do with both of these, but you know, sell one,
Because
keep one, sell
I
one, sell
mean,
both. I don't know.
a seller mentality, you got to think, hey, everybody bought these. 9.8s are going to be worth
Yeah.
something. This is going to be
Yeah.
worth something. So.
Yeah, exactly. Pre-knowing that all the issues with the facsimile cover being added on to a facsimile. And I'll be honest with you guys, up until the point that I had that thing in my hand, I didn't even realize it was a freaking acetate because it was nowhere else in the booth except right by the register. And even in the actual cover, even in the 9.9 when I'm holding the 9.8, I just looked and I seen the cover and I was like, why the fuck did they print over the top of the logo like that? That's stupid. But I'm like, whatever, right?
Okay.
Thinking that it was an actual print on paper, new cover. It didn't dawn on me that it said acetate on the ad that Nick sent me, and I wasn't thinking it was acetate.
Right. So at this point,
yeah.
you purchase your books, you think you're done with it, and then what other issues have you run into?
Okay, so purchase the books. I give them the money, whatever, and I kind of hang out and I go back a little bit because behind me happened to be Mr. Beckerman, and him and his buddy were hanging out behind me, about 15 or so behind me, in line, 15, 20 behind me. So I go back and I talk with them, and I wait with them to get up to get their books. So as we're going up, Beckerman gets his. His buddy said something to the owner, or not the owner, but the girl that was checking us out. And she's like, yeah, take it or leave it. There's nothing I could do about it, whatever. So he's like, fine, whatever. And he gives the cash and away they go. And then we just kind of left and walked away. But there was still a long line behind them. There was still a lot of people because Beckerman and his friend were probably, they were one of the first ones to hit that line being standard 3-day pass. They weren't VIP. They were standard 3-day pass, and they were able to get their money. So, but that stack was probably getting much lower. I didn't bring this up earlier in the conversation, and I mentioned it, but back to me standing in line, gentleman in front of me, he just gets his comics. He hands his credit card over. As he's handing his credit card over, up comes a couple of guys that work in booths and that work there. And I've seen them before. I just cannot remember what comic shop they work for. They are a comic shop person, and they work for one of the bigger comic shops. They come walking up. When they come walking up, all of a sudden, hey, the owner of the place is like, oh, hey, how you doing? Fist bump, they greet, they talk to, and it's these 2 guys. They come walking up, and then all of a sudden the owner grabs 4 off the stack and hands it over, 1 to each one of 2 and 2 to these guys, and says, I'll talk to you later. I'll get with you later, because he didn't charge them at that point. And then I'm sitting there like right in front of me. So like I have no comic in my hand. I'm like, look over to the pile. I'm like, well, at least I'm going to get 2. Right. And that's kind of his mentality. So it was even happening, cutting in line, shall we say, in front of me, whether he was, paying up front or what. I seriously doubt they did. He handed them over to him and says, I'll come talk to you guys later about paying up. And then they hung for a few seconds and then walked away. So, and then I kind of walked around and got mine. So anyway, so after that, we just kind of walked away and left.
I have to even imagine that. I mean, sure, if there are people in the industry that have taken care of you, there might be something where you would go out of the way. You don't care what anybody else thinks. You're going to take care of them no matter what. So,
no doubt about it.
All right, so that's C2E2. Now, post C2E2, what are the issues that you've run into?
Post C2E2, some of the issues that I've run into would be, are you talking about the comic itself or just what's been happening in general to me? Or
you can, either which one. It's it's your world,
all right.
Chip. We're just living in it.
So post C2E2, I get home, I am a little bit, like still festering in my mind how this was kind of not right, how I seen these, it opened my eyes to, let's put it this way, it tarnished the way that I look at some people within the industry, right? Or some people that I would have considered the people that I looked up to. It kind of put a little question in my mind, like, really? Why am I, that's kind of a jack thing to do, because it's something I wouldn't have done personally. I would always try to leave a little meat on the bones for everybody to get some, right? That's how I am. It just seemed as though it was a give me everything I can, because I am a reseller of this product and this is my full-time 9-to-5 job type thing. Whereas you guys are just here to, to get a, 1 or 2 comics, and that was it. And it just didn't sit right with me.
So let me ask you a question, and I just kind of lost my thought for a second because
while you collect your thoughts, let me tell you this: everyone's saying it's all Nick's fault, whatever. I mean, it's all thanks to Nick that this thing got basically talked about. Because at some point, I think we need to talk about these things that happen.
Space race,
yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's good that this happened because it sparked one of the first Angels homage videos. That's Chip's rant, for example. We wouldn't have the first Chip Gettler rant if not for this situation. So thank you, Nick.
All right. So before Chip goes into his thing, now this is gained Chip some of his notoriety. Now and I'll tell you, I think what I'm going to say next will frame the type of person I think everybody believes Chip is. All right. Chip makes an Instagram post later on that day, and I think it was Friday, posting the 9/8 slab. Now, we all know Chip. Chip is a very generous guy. And in my greedy, disgusting head, I'm like, that's my 9/8 slab. Chip is going to send me that 9/8 slab. Because he's a nice guy.
I love you.
That's my whole thinking of it. But Chip has done those kind of things before. And that's I think, what we all believe Chip to be. Now,
yesterday I unsubscribed from a YouTube channel because he trash talked Chip. So I said, okay, you don't know what you're talking about. Goodbye.
Yeah, there were a couple of comments on Chip's video that just pissed me off too, and really were unwarranted.
Yeah, and I have to say, Chip, you're handling this situation like a gentleman.
He's handling it like we believe Chip. Chip started off Friday morning with 460 something subscribers.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
something like that. As of right now, Chip is at 701 subscribers from Friday morning. Now, Chip's mentality on this, and tell me if I'm wrong, Chip. Chip doesn't want it. He doesn't believe it. He's very happy to go back to his phone. He'll believe that he even should be lower than 460 subscribers.
I'm baffled that 400 people freaking subscribe to my ass, let alone
if Chip got unsubbed back to 30 subscribers, Chip would be in ecstasy. All right, but happy. Since this whole thing started, Chip has gained 200 plus subscribers. 3 of his videos are now over 1,000, over 2,500, and close to 6,000 views. Yeah. All right. He may not see it as a good thing. I think people watching his rant will kind of attest to kind of how genuine he is. And I think that's why they gravitated towards it. It's also been mentioned in
Bleeding Cool. Yeah.
A link to their article, What Went On, links you directly to Chip. So
Yeah.
that's a good / bad thing. Like, more people know what Chip's about now, and I think they get the idea, except for the asshole who just wants to lash out at the way things are.
Yeah, but there's a lot of those because people love a scandal, and Chip didn't give anyone a scandal.
Right.
He just
And that was one of the things that I was trying to make sure that I didn't do, because I didn't know the players of the people that were walking up to the counter to actually just grab the books and go, or grab the books, pay and go without waiting in line. I don't know who they are. They're vendors, they're exhibitors, they're YouTubers, they're whoever they are. I don't know who they are, right? I just knew that for a fact that when I was actually seeing people that were buying in big bulk and whatnot, type people, I was just like getting frustrated, and and I may have incorrectly voiced out that whatnotters were cutting in line, and it was, I didn't see any whatnotters that I know of cutting in line. That's why I gotta say, I mean, like I said, yeah, the nerdy girl and that the Moss guy or whatever, I those guys really did not. They just didn't cut. I mean, they were in line the whole time. Now, did they overbuy? Did they buy in bulk? Did they kind of make me feel as though they were, trying to monopolize the market? Yeah, a little bit. They're trying to, take over all the, the goods and leave a little bit of crumbs for the, for us resellers, shall we say? Whatever,
Right.
But
so yeah, but that's a part of the game,
kind of
because
my frustrating part.
If Black Flag doesn't supply, then you cannot buy it.
Yeah.
So this is my other thing. I'm going to go on a bit of tangent here. I don't know.
Good drink.
There's always been some controversy attached to Nerdy Girl. I don't know her. I've never dealt with her. I know she has a collection and a half. I know she does very well on Whatnot. And I guess more money, more problems comes into play.
Sure.
But when something like this, when you show a chink in your armor, those people waiting to pounce on you are going to pounce.
Yeah.
All right. So they'll pounce on you, and they don't care if the facts are true or not. They'll just see it, and they'll blow everything out of the water just to get that person who they don't like out of the way. So I think to a degree, buying up massive percentages of the print run while people are waiting, while you look and see people are waiting, kind of denotes what kind of person you are. I don't
know, man. It's part of the game. It's a game you're playing. It's a speculation game, and if you don't have a leash or a limit, then you keep going.
Yeah.
Right. But
if you go to the casino and no one tells you are allowed to bet up until this amount, then you will keep betting because you want to win.
True.
It's a game.
Yeah. For me, it's kind of twofold, right? First off, here's Black Flag, whether they set a limit at the beginning and say, okay, this is what we're setting a limit at, 5 each, 10 each, whatever, or whether they kind of started selling their actual goods, and then maybe take a second to assess the situation. Look to see that I have 150 people sitting in line waiting, but yet I've only serviced 4 people in the front, and they've taken a third of my freaking inventory already, right? And I have a lot more of these big resellers sitting behind them. Maybe then say, okay, now wait, man. Okay, well, hold on, man. I gotta limit it now to 5 per, or do something like that to kind of, so that way when that person that came in on the 3-day pass guy gets up there, he's not sitting there having to pay a higher price and also having to pay to be limited to just the 2, right? So it was a little bit on the black. I mean, I think it was a lot on the Black Flag side, but even in the heat of the moment, right? I mean, someone should have said, "Hey, dude, man, we got a long ass line," and then you look and you're like, I'm never going to be able to give all of these people a comic. And the goal isn't to give everyone a single comic to walk out the door with. But ultimately, you want to sell out all your stuff. But be realistic about it. Don't be greedy about it.
The blame, it lands on Black Flag, period. Because I'm saying if I was in Nerdy's or Skeff's point, if they don't tell me, I'll buy all 750.
Oh,
So
I had
Exactly.
no
That's
problem
why
with-
I'm saying.
I was
right,
I-
it falls 100% on Black Flag. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
As
let's
a-
not. It's not a blame thing. Maybe they.
Yeah.
I don't know if they did this before this situation, but if this is the first time let's take it as a mistake. They didn't think about it at first, so they made the mistake.
Oh,
Let's not
okay.
blame them. Let's make them responsible.
I agree if they're brand new. They're not brand new. They run the Clayton Crane exclusive train every summer for his signings and whatnot.
Okay, I don't know.
Okay. My thing is,
Yeah.
and this is another thing that came out later. The guy who owns Black Flag came out later with a video, saying some of the things.
Saturday. Yeah.
Whatnotters, whatever. But then he says this. He says, A, that they were pre-orders, which nobody believes. Second thing is he says that he laid out so much money and he wanted to recoup it so quickly. He wanted to make sure that everything sold, which as I buy from Black Flag occasionally. I know that 10 minutes after anything Black Flag puts on sale from Clayton Crane is gone. Gone.
Yeah.
All right. If you see 40 people online before the doors open and you have 400 of them sold, you already know you're going to sell out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah,
the second thing is, the last thing is, and this is really the smack in the face to me, is like when all those big people buying $10,000, $15,000 worth of this book are done buying, the guy waiting online for 2 hours is going to get charged another $15 for what?
Yeah.
Why?
Yep. Because the guy couldn't manage his inventory
Why?
and realized that, oh, this is a hot book. Let me go ahead and try to make a little more money now because now I have to go back and I have to explain to this pre-purchase that a guy was pre-buying from me, building his box. Now I have to go back and explain him. So the penalty is, I had to pull out from that box, but I'm going to get more money out of it. So it's going to be worth me explaining to this customer that,
Exactly.
bullshit basically. So, and for me, it was about, okay, I got caught up in a FOMO and I ended up buying what I bought and I'm fine, whatever. I bought what I bought. I got what I got.
Yeah.
I'm whatever. I'm happy, whatever. For me, though, it was more frustration about the no limits, the ability to go ahead and have these guys where they were actually doing it was rubbing me the wrong way and seeing that mass amounts. Now, if they ended up selling the Whatnot guys and Skeff and all these guys, 30 comics, 50 comics, 100 comics, whatever, and they did it in the back room or they did it behind the curtain somewhere else in the shop or, hey, yeah, we'll buy them for you. We'll bring them over to your booth. I would be none the wiser. I wouldn't have felt bad as a customer waiting in line, knowing that I'm here for an exclusive and I'm probably not going to get it right off the bat. I mean, not even but literally before the doors even open, I'm sitting there thinking, and there ain't no way, I'm telling them, hey, dude, man, don't even bother because there ain't no way, I didn't tell him what it cost until we got to the end and I got it in hand and I'm like, I got you, Nick. And he's like, all right. And I said, it's $100 and here you go. And then away it went, it was kind of one of those scenarios where it wasn't something that I just felt that it was optics. I really do. I think he managed it wrong. I think he probably could have done the back end deals and is, outside of the booth or take them to a different area and do it. And then, or do them the night before or the day before.
Or do actual pre-orders.
Get in early enough to pull those pre-orders out of the box and throw them in boxes and say, okay, this is for these groups of people here. And now when I show up in line and I'm in line because I'm not a Whatnot person or I'm not trying to buy it, I'm now limited to, we only have, it's a 750 piece run. We're selling 300 pieces today. I would have been like, all right, well, hopefully I get one of those 300. I would have never even questioned.
Right.
And if they set it at limits, 1 or 2 per, then I would have been like, yeah, fine. It is what it is.
I think there's always been a divide in the community that people succumb to FOMO, drive up the prices for something supposedly everybody wants.
Yeah.
And see, and I think, Randall's comment here, you may consider it dumb, but to some people that might be the best looking book that they ever seen, and they want to spend. They wanted to ensure that they got it. Now, I mean, it all comes down to we collect whatever we want to collect, how we collect it. Now, what we pay for it is what we pay for it. There may only be certain options available to pay for it, but if you're willing to spend the money, then more power. Like Chip would say, more power to you. You know, so
yeah, more power to you. Yeah. And like I said, I had no complaint about them being upfront, and they had the money, they had the power, they had the ability to buy it. I personally wouldn't have done that, but hey, that it is what it is, And then
I'm not a businessman, and I see what Iggy's saying. It's a learning experience, but
definitely for everyone.
And this is another thing. It should be a learning experience, but they put out another press release the other day. They have a Boston Comic-Con. They're going to be selling the same thing with a couple of more exclusive covers, but now they're going to have two different lines. They're going to have a collector's line, limit one. They're going to have an influencer's line where the limit is 10.
Yeah.
How does that solve anything at all?
Let me ask you this. How does one become or certify that is an influencer? Because now Chip is an influencer.
No, I'm not. But good point. No, I mean, it's a good point. No one's got a license to say, so basically if I'm not wearing the W on my shirt or the W on my hat or the or walking around as one of the exhibitors, if I don't have an exhibitor badge or something like that, then I can't prove that I'm an influencer versus I'm a regular Joe customer. If I want to go and buy 10 or up to 10 and I want to go over and buy 5 or 3 or 4, I'd go into the influencer line.
Right. And I think there's also the added level of animosity from the people who who automatically go and sell them on Whatnot for 3 times the price, 4 times the price. People put them on eBay, put them on 4 times the price, and those people who didn't get any have to pay their hard-earned money to get that. So
that was the tough part about it was, my whole little extra $15, whatever, no big deal. But then to turn around and find out that, I understand people post things on eBay and you're going to get whatever you want to get. You're going to put it for whatever you think it's worth. So that first post that popped out and, oh man, they've got this on eBay for $350 already or $300 already. And I'm just like, really? I was like, someone's going to pay. I was like, who the hell's going to pay that much money for this comic, at this point? Because I have it in hand, but I'm just like, what? But
why?
To turn around to be able, the thing about it is to be able to then say I'm at a comic convention, I'm in my Whatnot booth, I've got a live feed going, I've got this hot C2E2 exclusive, this thing is on fire, guys. You really need to buy. They start kicking in, and it's and they start selling. Oh, I got 1 sold, I got 2 sold, and don't know quantity sold, to be honest with you. But I'm just envisioning, I sold 1, I sold 2, I sold 3. Well, selling the first one, you made back your money plus probably enough money for 2. So then you say, well, I'm going to throw in a freebie and we're going to give this one away for free. And then they give it away for free. But you've already made your money because you've doubled up on the first one that you sold for $200. It only cost you $85. So you've already doubled more than your money. So you're, basically breaking even at that point. It's weird.
I was doing a little research for this episode, which is weird. And I was on T Collector app. And in the entry for Ultimate Fallout for this facsimile, it says at the bottom, value analysis is not possible due to the volatility of bidding, retractions, and refunds resulting from community backlash surrounding this book. Right. So the community has spoken.
And we'll tell you, it could be people just not even involved in comics hear about this thing and they just want to latch on and troll.
Yeah,
Chip,
of course.
being the saint that he is, hashtag all hail Chip.
All hail Chip.
He wants to turn this negative. He wants to turn this negative into a positive. All right. So he puts the book up on eBay and decides he's gonna donate all of the proceeds. And if I'm wrong about all of the proceeds, let me know.
Well, maybe shipping.
To charity, which is beautiful. but it ties back into the earlier thing. Marvel didn't sell a comic with an acetate cover.
No.
They sold Black Flag, regular facsimiles, and Virgins. All right, and
With
people
a Clayton Crane variant.
right.
Yes.
People made a big deal about 4 staples.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Can you focus? You guys see the staples? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
This is a legally sanctioned Stray Dogs acetate cover, and I think there was an acetate cover that came out this week, which is pretty funny. Yeah, I had to laugh when I saw it. I didn't check if it had 4 staples, but we know the acetate could probably just rip off, so they probably just do that for strength. But the funny thing about it is, and Chip, you can talk about the whole flag thing, but on the back, there was a typo. It was supposed to say, "In God we trust," but it says, "In God, in we trust." So not only did they create this counterfeit thing, they couldn't even spell it correctly, grammatical error.
Yeah.
And what was the thing about the flag, Chip?
So there's two flag issues. The first flag issue is the actual flag that Miles Morales is supposedly holding, as if he's presenting it or receiving it as a flag from someone that has passed away. And that's typically what happens. Is I was in the honor guard. I spent many times sitting in funerals and having to hand over a flag to a husband, wife, of a person that has passed away for the military. And one of the things we've always done when we raise that flag up, when we start the whole folding process and everything, is you cannot show any red or white when that thing is tucked. When you tuck that flag, you cannot show any red or white. It is actually then presented over to the sergeant major. He looks it over, he does his thing, and then he presents it to the thing. If he flips it up and he sees red, he turns around, gives it back to the group. We then break it open and we refold it so no red is showing, no red or white. It is that serious about not having that on a flag. And this flag, red, white, blue cover right over that. You can see it right there. So that was the first issue with the flag, was that whole front cover of him holding this flag that's showing the red and white. The second part of it happened to be on the back of the comic, which I didn't really pay attention to because mine is in my sleeve still and I haven't pulled it out since I got it. But the actual back of it, I didn't realize until, looking at the back of the actual gray, the slabbed one, the actual stripes on the flag are going white, red, white, red, white, red, white, instead of red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white. It starts at red and ends in red. These are starting in white, ending in white. So it's totally wrong on the back of that as well. So those are the two flaggy issues on there, as well as the typo Nick mentioned. So it's just bad. It's bad. I kind of equated it when my wife asked me about it. She goes, "So what's the big deal with this thing?" I was like, it's kind of like it's the Wish version of a Marvel comic. It's like they got the lowest bidder to kind of print them off. They went to Wish, they got this Wish comic, and and threw a cover over the top of a good comic, and then said, "Here you go." And now we got your Wish comic cover. So it's the hardest part about all
maybe
this, guys,
they have the remnant.
Yeah, the toughest part about all of this is twofold. One is, as mentioned, earlier, there was an article by Bleeding Cool, and in Bleeding Cool, the guy, I talked to someone at blah blah Marvel, and they said that this wasn't sanctioned and this and that. And for me, that's hearsay. I haven't seen anything from Marvel on paper with Marvel letterhead or in their Marvel Twitter or anything like that saying, "Hey guys, listen, we don't consider this to be a legal comic or a legitimate comic. It is a counterfeit. It is a Frankenstein comic." We don't see anything specific. I haven't specifically seen anything. And then on top of it, CGC also only doing it through the back channels of their forum to kind of, in their chat session forum thing, to kind of announce that it is official, and they're using the chat forum admin to do that. That hasn't been an official document or anything as well either. Those are the things that I think if they would make a stance, just make a freaking stance. Let us know.
Yeah.
Do you consider it or don't you? If you consider it, fine. No mas, whatever. We keep moving on. We keep moving forward and whatever. If you don't consider it, then fine. I'm out the money. Everyone's out the money. Hey, away we go. Because if they don't consider it, at that point, CGC shouldn't be grading it. and then, anymore. Or if they say, oh yeah, it is good, but yet with this caveat, then obviously CGC should grade it, but grade it with a purple label, right? As instead of grading it with it could be a 10 oak purple, it could be 9.9 purple, 9.8 purple, but it's a purple because it's got this thing adhered to it. So, anyway, that's kind of my thinking on that. I mean, as far as that goes, I just think Marvel is really doing an a disservice to actually not coming out quick enough to tell us, hey, this is where we're at on this, and this is where we stand. This is our stance. Officially. Now, through Relieving Cool, yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean,
just my thought.
So do you think, as far as much as we spoke about for the past hour and a half, do you think that everything that you've wanted to say or feel about has been covered?
The only thing I really wanted to make sure it really comes down to, I feel bad inside me. I feel bad because I did in my video, in the heat of the thinking about what happened, and that I'm keying in on seeing those whatnot people sitting up at the front of the line and counting the comics and this and that. I combined that issue with the issue of people walking up vendors, cutting line and doing that stuff, right? So now it became like, oh, whatnot people are cutting in line, and Go Collect, he wrote a story, whoever, Go Collect, whatever. There's a blog article now written out there with him that's referencing me, White Shadow -Chip, blah blah blah, said that were influencers are cutting line and this and that, and then of course now he's showing Danielle says from Nerdy Girl, and it's like this whole big thing with Nerdy Girl and then Skep Comics, and I personally have never said any of their names as being, and I've been trying not to, but I am here to say they didn't cut line. They were in line just like I was. They were in line. Jem's wife was in line. All these people. I wish I had the photo to show. Here's a list of all the people, but if you go to that gentleman's page, and I don't remember the name, Nick, off the top of my head, you go to his Instagram page, he has a photo of him taking a screenshot, and you can see the guy with the orange shirt, guy with the blue shirt, and all the people that were in that front line. They were legitimately in line. So I have no problem with them being legitimately in line. My only problem was unlimited amount of sales that they actually were able to purchase. The ownership of
they are not responsible for that.
Yeah, it's not their fault, right? Yeah, exactly. And then also the other thing was, once they did find out, there was that unlimited ability, I think it was a little, probably not good for optics, not good for their optics as a business, not on Black Flag's optics, but Skep's optics and Nerdy Girl's optics or anyone else, what their optics were and how much they were buying, because I didn't know how much Nerdy Girl bought. All I seen was Skep with short box.
Maybe if they sold them all, that's great. But if they didn't sell them all, I mean, they're at a loss more than anyone, because they fell for it, basically.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
They bought into the FOMO.
Hey, and it's all a gamble. It's all a gamble.
That's why I don't do it.
That's why I'm not. If literally, because what's been happening, you guys mentioned it earlier, what's been happening with eBay. So I go out and say, okay, I'm going to do eBay. I'm going to donate this, all the proceeds to this eBay sale. I'm going to give it to Mission 22, which happens to be something that a Comic Man Andy was big in. Is either that or Wounded Warriors, one of the two. But as Mission 22, because I know Andy, whatever, and he's always talking about him. So I go ahead and I make the whole thing. I'm going to go ahead and donate it. And then, of course, eBay, it starts jacking up, and then they kill my thing because someone reported. Okay, fine, whatever, no big deal. And then it becomes more of you start seeing people increasing those bids, $10,000, $20,000, and you see it in big, huge jumps, and it's the same guy constantly butting up and up and up. It's crazy, and it's just a shame in that regard. I know that there are people that have actually gone out and actually really have submitted to CGC. They actually went through the process and walked over to the CGC booth and submitted some for CGC grading, and it'd be interesting to see what happens with it, because they're out.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
If I were left to sit in here with these two comics, knowing that I've got $700 worth of comics sitting there in my hand, and I can't do nothing with it, then that's on me. Yeah, I was the idiot who decided to buy $700 worth of two comics.
I would like to know,
whatever.
Like you said, what's CGC going to do now? And how are they going to grade it, and what kind of label are they going to put into it?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Well, see, the interesting part too is CBCS has come out already and said because of the way the acetate cover was handled, they wouldn't give it more than a 7.0 because of the extra staples, the added
got 4 holes in it. It's got 4 holes in the spine. Yep, in the spine. So, and there's a difference. And you ended up showing the Stray Dogs image, the comic. The difference between the Stray Dogs and that is twofold. Well, Stray Dogs has different barcoding on the back of it than the standard regular star graded one. It's a different barcode on the back. And as well, it wasn't printed with. It was printed with that black and red part is actually part of. I mean, the whole image is even different. There's like an image logo isn't in there for the Image comics, but then on top of it, that whole front cover, it isn't like the dog is on top of a dog, right? Peeking through. It literally is like the dog is positioned in the spot that you see the black and the red, and the dog is positioned right. Now on the real one, the dog is on top of the piece of paper. So it's like it's 2 totally different covers on like this acetate, which was adhered to it, after the fact. And still using the same number.
The Stray Dogs one was designed for this purpose.
It was
designed
for that purpose, printed for that purpose, and printed. Yep. Yeah, where the other one wasn't designed for this purpose or.
Yeah, I don't know if they sold it. It was faulty. I think that they just had leftover and just try to.
I think they did. I think it. So from what I heard recently was someone made a comment, and I don't know for a fact, but someone made the comment of that he actually did do an order for the 3,000 or whatever is cutoff runs or whatever. He pulled off 750 of them, and they went ahead and they fixed up, however many they could do. The 10 of them had some printed off, adhered, sent it into CGC, see what kind of grades they get back on it, and everything looked good. All right, now we'll go ahead and we'll run it through the rest of it. And that's what someone said. I said, I don't know for a fact, but I could see where I had an extra 750 laying around. Let me go ahead and try to move these things. Yeah. Let me adhere a acetate cover to them, call it a, a new and improved version of, and sell them off. So. I understand. He's in the business of making money. I mean, it is what it is. But it was just a little dirty and grimy the way it was actually handled. And I wish I just wish he would have done limits, and he would have done all that back room thing in a back room, and not in front of the public. So, for people like me and Beckerman and anyone else that was standing in line, we didn't have to watch that happen. And you had a better experience and better feel about getting the comic. Because by the time I got the comic, I was like, first off, F this comic and F this company, especially after he raised the price on me. I was like, this is insane. But I stupidly bought it, and that's on me, So
it's just dirty business. I don't know what sparked this comment, but there are some people in this chat that don't have wrenches that I would entrust my kids to. It's just that if I disagree with your comment, I'll let you know about it. So I don't know what that's all about.
I can't read it, so I don't know. I'll have to read it on the rewind.
Chip, do you think that you covered everything you want to cover? Is there anything else that you want to say about it?
No, I think that's about it. I mean, really, like I said, no ill will towards anyone that bought up extra. Just whatever. It is what it is. How you how you do your business versus me, whatever. And I definitely don't have any ill will nor towards you, Nick. So I love you, brother. I love
you. Hey, listen, what's the next con you're going to?
It will be the Frozen in Hell con, because it ain't ever happening again.
You know what? I'm checking for the exclusives right there.
There you go. Hell is frozen over, and I'm going to another con. I'll be honest. This has kind of put a little spoil on the old, trying to get con exclusives and stuff. Yeah, I just whatever. I don't care anymore. I'm not going to do it.
All I'm going to say is this did not happen when I was at C2E2 last year. So,
you were there, so you would have done the line yourself and not send Chip to.
Yeah, and I'm sure that there would have somebody would have hit me up on Instagram asking me to get them one. So.
Yeah, and you would have done it.
I would have. I would have.
Maybe you would have fight someone in line, but
no, that would have. I'll tell you how this has bled into my real life. I've always been the person when I get cut in line. I don't care if you're a 95-year-old lady. You're going to hear about it.
there you go.
So
Yeah.
me and my son were at the water park the other day, and there was a little kid. He must have been 8, 9, 10 years old, who tried to cut in front of me to get a tube for the slide, and I had to course correct him.
Yeah.
All right.
And
So the other
I was
important
going to
question
say just real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to ask you is like now, what do you want to do with the comic?
I still want to
sell it and give it to charity.
I still want to sell it off and give it to charity. So we made another attempt to do a sale on it, and that was jacked up to $11,000 or $10,000 plus this morning. So that didn't happen. So at this point, the gentleman who actually did have the high bid on that and looked to be in a legitimate high bid, I'm going to try to reach out to him and say, listen, dude, I'll cut you a deal. If you want it, here you go. And then turn around and take that money and submit it to, Mission 22. Because I did originally have, because Mission 22 wasn't on eBay's provided, and it wouldn't matter because they don't care. They're not really caring what the process is. And I've already gotten plenty of backlash in my eBay, what I'm planning on doing with the comic type of thing. I've already gotten a lot of backlash on that one from people, that, hope that makes you feel better and sleep better at night. You're still a piece of shit, whatever. It's like, whatever, dude. But ultimately, the goal is to kind of, I just want to, try to make lemon out of lemonade, or lemonade out of lemons, or whatever the hell it is, and try to make it,
Dude, if you can make lemons out of lemonade, you're a master.
I'm telling you,
You're a magician.
He can. All right, so if you guys wanna buy one and have a good portion of the proceeds donated to the Wounded Warrior Project or whatever charity.
Yeah, 100% of the proceeds. It's all of it. I don't want any of the money, even the 100 that I paid for it.
And right then and there, you know what kind of person Chip is. All right, his information is down at the bottom. Now, Ignacio, being on the complete outside looking in, what do you think about it? Give me a second.
Yeah, no. Well, if you know Chip, this is not only the right thing to do, it's true. Because I know you, Chip, I for a while, and I'm glad you're taking this out of your life in this way. Yeah. And regarding what Nick asked, this is all crazy to me because I'm on the producing part of the comic industry, and I don't really like a lot of the things they do with the variants and the exclusive and the ratio and the blah, blah, blah. But it's part of the game. I mean, we do it on Kickstarters, on crowdfunding platforms, even. Yeah. That's a part of the game. You jack up your sales and people maybe buy a couple of colors, all of the colors.
You what your sales?
Jacked up.
Okay, jacked up.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
What did you hear?
Continue.
You're gonna talk now that we're an hour and 40 in. You want to talk sex? Shut up.
No, that was just the first hour and a half. Now we can talk about the sex part of it.
But it's crazy when all this happens. I understand the speculator boom. We've seen the industry fall in the 90s after the speculation bubble burst. And I'm going to keep telling it and saying it over and over. It's going to happen again if things go like this. Mm-hmm. And then after the fall, you will see who remains and who wants to really buy the comics and who was speculating and solely speculating. And comics will be there anyway. Comics survived the fall of the 90s and the speculator boom, and comics will be there after this.
Yeah.
These things sometimes gives us leave us with a bad taste. But if we understand that it's part of the game, I mean, I had to learn that because I was basically trying to avoid doing variants for the Kickstarter I did recently.
Yeah.
But then I realized, dude, if we don't do variants, first of all, every artist on the book wants to do a cover. So we have multiple artists. Let's give most of them the chance to do a variant, and let's give the buyer, the reader, a chance to get a variant by every artist. Because one thing that I realized too is that maybe you cannot buy a print because the print might be too expensive, but you can buy another book with a cool cover, with a different cover. So that's maybe more understandable to me than do variants just because to up the sales. But nonetheless, I always hated, when I was a kid, I always hated the fact that I went to the LCS and I got a book because I love the cover, because I follow artists more than writers. So to me, the art has to hook me. And it's something Marvel did a lot, or maybe I was buying mostly Marvel back then. But then I bought a book for the cover, and then inside the artist was someone else. And that always rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, why don't you do the same cover artist? Then I understood. I grew up, but it's still not the practice I would prefer. But I know it's part of the game, and I've been playing this game for a living, so bring it on.
Yep. Definitely.
Well, companies put out variants to make money. Honestly, I buy variants sometimes to make money, sometimes just because I like the cover art. I mean, Clayton Crane. Right. Do you not want that cover?
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
There you go.
Yeah,
Clayton Crane. Yeah. I think this was a perfect storm of a lot of things. Just the practice that everybody knows about is seen out in public. The hate for whatnot, the hate for paying above fair market value. People just buying the whole variant thing, like you mentioned, just buying. Hate for the individuals involved. You know, and it's just a perfect storm of everything. And I think this is what led it to be the topic of the week, because honestly, we all know there'll be something new soon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it honestly won't stop. It honestly won't stop. It's just this latest is the latest iteration of it. And unfortunately,
well, I think any amount of hate in this situation is uncalled for. It's unnecessary. But I see a lot of hate all around. And I understand why Chip doesn't want this anymore. I will totally be on the same. I am in the same page.
To be honest, I mean, you know, I went into it thinking, you know, I'm gonna make a rant. You know, no one really watches my channel anyways, and whatever. And you know,
there you go.
And it's definitely an eye opener, realizing how quickly things can escalate without realizing that it's gonna happen. You know, without planning or thinking, or I didn't even think about it. I was just like, hey, whatever. I'm, you know. I was taking a nod from Angel, who, you know, does these wonderful rants, and I was like, I'm gonna do a rant. You know, it was a little, you know, I mean, it was. Trust me, you could tell in the rant, I wasn't like pissed about it. Like, this place is you know, I wasn't like that. It was things that kind of stabbed in the heart. And you know, I felt like, really, that's kind of messed up. You know, because it's for me. I mean, for me, I'm always low key, and I'm not worried about selling comics. It's not the way I make a living, and I collect, and I sometimes collect and say, I'm going to get this comic, and it's worth so much money, but knowing that it's not worth anything to me other than what I paid for it, because the person who's going to have to sell the damn thing is the person that buries me, and they're the ones that are going to have to try to figure out how much it all costs because I'm not selling it,
Yeah.
you know. So, because I tend to keep things and hold on to things, you know. So every once in a while I'll sell, but not often. And when I do, like Mark said, I think Mark mentioned earlier, the only reason I met Mark in this group and everything was because I ended up selling him a comic that I got from Comic Tom, and it was like I sold it for $2 to him on eBay. He wanted to bid $2. It cost him more to ship the damn thing than it did to buy the damn comic. And it was a Green Ranger, and then I was like throwing in more, or White Ranger or something, and I was throwing in more stuff in there. I'm like, I don't know. Here, dude, take it. It didn't appeal to me. So, and I didn't cry over $2. And he told me he was going to make a video. I'm like, oh, cool, I'll watch it. And then just kind of started watching and hanging out.
You are.
Yeah.
I just
What
think
a journey, Jib. What a journey.
Yep. I think that this unfortunate situation has shed light on what we all knew to be true, that we deserve this kind of accolades, recognition. I mean, there's a lot of shady shit that's been done on Banter on Saturday nights, but Banter's done. So
had to ask, should I be taking those down? Nick's like, no, keep them going. All right, fine.
All right. So I'll ask this in closing. Do you as a new guy, Chip, who sells occasionally, think the term flipper or reseller is a bad word within the community?
Flipper, yeah, definitely. You know, someone says that they're flipping a flipper, or he's a flipper or whatever. It definitely has a bad connotation to it. Even resellers kind of borderline, but at least in a reseller scenario, I understand that, you know, I look at it and I see Skeff as a reseller. I see, you know, Comic Man Andy as a reseller because they're going out and they're actually buying it. That's their full-time, especially Comic Man Andy, you know, or I'm sorry, Skeff, you know, I mean, it's what he does. I mean, that's his job. He goes out, he buys, he resells it. He basically, you know, he's buying it from a distribution company who happens to be not a lock, but a distribution company that happens to be a comic shop. And that comic shop then, and he buys in bulk and he resells in bulk, you know, or resells it, you know, on his his platform, whatever it may be. He was doing it on eBay. He was doing it on his own YouTube channel. Now he's doing it on a more efficient and more, you know, quicker response, whatnot, you know. So it's funny because I was showing some of my friends that have not been in the comic community. No, let me put it this way. They're in the comic community, but they're not in the YouTube comic community or the buying, selling YouTube comic community. This guy's actually runs the comic convention. And him and I and his son were standing by the Whatnot booth Sunday and at the convention. And his son was playing his game. And I'm standing there and I'm showing him and explaining to him what Whatnot is because he had no idea. So I'm explaining, and they had a big screen TV, and I said, watch the screen, and that's what he's showing right there. He's selling this, and you could see all the bids coming in, and he's just like, well, that escalated quick. Wow, why does it keep doing that? It keeps adding another. Holy crap. And he was like, he was blown away with how quickly. I was like, boom, now the guy just sold that for $200. And he's just like, it's not worth that, Chip. I'm like, I know. It's like, but people want it. People pay it. It's like, it's insane. It's like, but then you got the other guy who posted out and started at $1 or $2 and it'll sell for $3. And it's worth 50, you know, so you have both sides of the coin there. And it's up, but you know, like I said, I have no, it's, you know, it is what it is, you know. If you can make a living doing it, go for it. But
yeah, you know, you have no skin in the game like myself.
I got no skin in the game on that one. Yeah. Same here, Ignacio.
Yeah, I don't know. I think ultimately it's all left up to the buyer.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, the buyer has the power because if you don't buy, then they have all the stock laying in a warehouse.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I have succumbed to FOMO. I have taken advantage of FOMO. It's all up to the buyer, I think.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
You know, people have called me, and I look at the whole resale thing. You can get great deals. You know?
Yeah, of course.
I got a great deal on Andy's Whatnot last week. And I'm sure that when Skeff holds his auctions, and I've never bought anything from Skeff, and the times
You can go into a flea market and get a great deal. It can happen everywhere.
right.
Yeah. Exactly.
But also too, like the interactions I've had with Skeff, I know he's put a lot of hard work into comic selling, and it now just recently become his full-time business.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. I mean, honestly, if I was in the same situation, had the same kind of money, if I knew I can make $45,000 on it's selling out and 15, laying out 15 grand, I'd do it.
Yeah.
And if that was
Yeah.
my only means of feeding my family, hell yeah. And I wouldn't care what other people think.
Exactly.
Now,
Now, I was going to say I can't say that based on what I in talking to Scott, with all this all going on and everything, just briefly, and I don't know the complete story, but from what I understand, it basically was that he had a long box, and it was a big lesson for him, because what he was doing was he was buying for a variety of different shops or companies or people that were actually funding that, and then ended up handing him over as a service fee or whatever his 10 comics or whatever it was that he was now selling. So whatever I don't know anything other than that, but ultimately I don't think that big huge long box that everyone's seeing whatever is something that he personally pulled that big money out of his pocket to buy. I think he was there as a hey, pick this up for me. Let's go ahead, work it out or whatever, and I'll send you money or whatever type of deal. And it was just happened to be an insanely large amount of money. And he basically let me know, he goes, if nothing goes, I definitely learned from that one. He goes, that's
right.
trying to be good, and it didn't quite work out the way I thought it would.
We live, we learn.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to buy my comic, you can do whatever you want with it afterwards. I am the Wack Comic School of.
Yeah.
But you know what? And Biggie's right. If you do feel guilty, you probably are. But you know what? There may be situations or circumstances on the side that guilt is the least of your problems there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, guilt is acceptable sometimes.
Sometimes it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I completely feel guilty that I didn't articulate better who was cutting in line or who because I just didn't know. For me, that was
great.
That was it.
You did
so
great.
Me saying, the whatnots and YouTubes and influencers or whatever cutting in line, I shouldn't have done that. That shouldn't have been said in that manner. It should have been like, yeah, they're buying large amounts of product, but then on top of it, then you have other people walking up as exhibitors with the exhibitor badges and stuff, that appearing to cut in line. All right, that's the way I really probably should have said. But it is what it is. I said what I said, and I feel guilty about that portion of it and feel bad about that. And I've talked to, Scaff, and I haven't talked to Nerdy Girl because I don't know her, but I have talked to Scaff. I talked to Andy just to make sure, and, say, hey, dude, I'm sorry to drag you in on this thing, but yeah.
You don't need to worry about that. You were good.
Yeah,
Chip, I think the people who know you, the 460 something of us who knew you before Friday, know what kind of person you are. All right. That being said, so. When Chip hits 1,000, which probably will be by 4:00 Central, he will be offering a channel membership starting at $30 a membership.
Nope.
And you will get
not happening.
He will cut up pieces of said acetate cover and mail that in your welcome.
I made a joke about lighting it on fire. I just made a joke about lighting it on fire, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, Wack Hat, do it.
Kyle's got some acid he can dip it in. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, give it to Kyle for acid.
Gentlemen, do we have anything else we want to close on? What's up, Mr. Dale? What's up, Zuni? Zuni was at C2E2. Zuni, did you get an acetate cover? Probably. Mom.
Oh, poor Zuni.
Anything else you guys want to cover?
An acetate cover?
There you go.
Yeah.
Remy forgot to add this one.
Mm-hmm.
No, let's just let this go.
Let the ultimate fallout happen and let it all go away and keep moving on. Keep moving forward, and hopefully it gets better for everyone.
I think we covered.
It will.
We covered what we could cover. Chip, do you want to You want to promote your channel on my
No,
little tiny
not a
channel?
chance. No. Stop subscribing, goddammit. Back to my
Don't go.
400 people.
As a matter of fact, I'm gonna unsub from YouTube right now.
Thank you. No.
Everybody, his channel
Go
is
on,
linked
Sal.
in the description below. We'll forward Travis's Ask TM and Ignacio's. Oh, maybe we should do that now, huh?
Let's do it. I have my answer ready.
All right, Ignacio's sexy suggestion for the week.
This is an upcoming Ryan K. Lindsay book. It's for you can get signed on Kickstarter so they can notify you when it launches. It's called A Fistful of Pain, and it's a story of two sisters and a dragon. And it's a Ryan K. Lindsay book. So, and Louis Joyce in the art. So what else do you need? Go, sign up,
Are you gonna have a link?
get notified,
a link?
and buy it.
It's a
Are you
die
gonna have a
cut.
link to the Kickstarter below?
Yep, it's in
Okay,
the
good.
description
Okay,
too.
description. Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
I can't see it.
No, not yet.
It's a die cut cover if you're into that. Just so you know, I know it's not the rage these days, but
No, but what's inside is what's good.
yes,
That's my only suggestion this week. And next week we are going to answer Travis' question.
Yes, we'll do Travis' question next week.
He was prepared for today, and he did a shout out to Chip. So maybe play the question, and we will answer it next week. It's an interesting one, and I already have my answer, but let's leave it. Leave them wanting more with a little cliffhanger.
If I can bring it up.
Oh, we leave them.
If you can do it. If you weren't ready, then let's leave it at that. And
Oh no, let's watch
hopefully
them suffer
go
and try
out.
to figure it out.
We can do it. Listen, I am a technological marvel, Chip. Thank you very much. I may not have created StreamYard like you, but I know my way around some things.
There you go.
Let's see if we could share the audio as well.
Hey everyone, TM from TMNerdy here. You guys are watching Two Nerd Dads with Nick and Nacho. I'm going to hold you guys up for just 1 second because I got a question for all you fine folks out there in the YouTube world. You have been given the opportunity to create your own half-an-hour TV show. What is it called? And what is the premise? Fill your holes with that nerd question. Back to you, Nick and Nacho, and the famous Chip Gettler. You guys are watching Two Nerd Dad.
There you go.
So I have a couple. So maybe tune in next week and find out how many ideas can I drop about half-hour episode show.
What's the title of your TV show and what's the premise?
Yeah. I mean, these are all comics ideas I have, so I'm going to turn them. The ones I think could work as a TV show, I will pitch them to the audience as a TV show. And if we don't get the funding, when maybe I can make the comic one day.
All right, so Chip's channel is doing well all by itself. It doesn't need my additional push. Tomorrow I will be doing the Friday FOC video. I actually got a box from CDC just now, so I'll probably be going live. I'll probably be going live in a little while to unbox them. These things will probably be on sale Sunday morning on the community garage sale, where there may be something from sale from Chip.
Nice.
But there is going to be an Austin LeMay number 225. Something is Killing the Turtles, the only one with the remark and the signature that's left. Also, 10% of each sale from Austin's sales and my sales will go to Comics Curing Cancer. That's Sunday morning, 10 Eastern, right here on this channel. Tomorrow, Friday FOC. Tomorrow night, I will be discussing comic culture. Maybe Ultimate Fallout 4 will come up again with Remy Q, DJ Lynx, Legion of Comics, and the newest member of our Bald Brotherhood, Tyler from Whack Comics. Maybe. I don't
know any of them.
Saturday night will also be Remy's Place on Remy Q's channel. I almost said Banter, but
yeah, I heard that.
I think that's it. The 30 have been here during this whole iteration of TMNerdy Dads. Thank you so much. I love every single one of you guys in the chat. You're what I appreciate every single one of you. I don't know what else to say.
You are the ones we do this for, and for us, of course, because we are selfish, but mostly for you.
But yeah, we hope.
Thank you, Chip, for joining us.
Thank you
no problem.
very much.
No problem at all. No problem. Thanks for having me on.
If we got in on the ground floor, Ignacio, we're good. See, I'm very happy because these two guys, a year from now, who knows? Who knows?
A year from now, still here.
But
hey, I do have to mention I will be on Remy Q's channel tonight. So let's talk about it.
Chip's going to be talking about it tonight with Remy Q and the lovely.
I don't know if you guys have already seen all this, so I don't know if we'll get into details about everything that I just talked about. But in general,
I'm sure Remy and Angel will bring something out of you that we have.
I'm sure. Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
They're a much more enjoyable couple anyway. So check out
definitely.
Check out Chip tonight on Remy Q's channel. I'll drop the link.
You're making the rounds.
Yeah. Well, that's it. After the Remy Q, that's it. Radio silence. I was asked to go on another channel, and I was just really having a bad day and was contemplating pulling the plug on YouTube in general. At that point, I'm like, dude, now I'm going radio silent. I'm done. I'm done with this. This is insane. And then my wife told me to stick it out and just don't be rash about it. But I felt bad about having to tell this person I couldn't do what I said I would, as well as being able to be in their chat, even though it was even a private chat. I was like, no, I'm done. But so anyway,
Chip,
you know who you are.
Please understand this. And I said this jokingly earlier that the 460 who were here Thursday night know what you're all about, and we consider you an integral part of this community, and we don't want you to go anywhere. We don't want you going. I feel there's something amiss when I don't hear back from you. I always wonder if is Chip mad at me. I hope Chip's not mad at me.
No.
And I know.
Don't making Chip mad.
Yeah, I know it could be a shitty situation, but bro, no, we all love you. And
hey, man,
this stuff.
If you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Gotta go. You gotta go. But ultimately, I mean, I can say, 99.9% of the people that are actually in the chats and then, commenting and stuff like that, or either one, bringing up a good point, or two, just nice guy, nice in general, and thanking me away or, saying, hey, sorry this happened to you, things like that. It's, but that small percentage does kind of get to me every once in a while. And I'm just like, and then of course, me, you guys know me. I mean, I'm not I'll sit and banter and let you guys all do all the talking, and I just kind of sit back, and every once in a while I'll say something. But I'm just there to kind of hang out, and I'm fairly low key and quiet and reserved, and I'm a wallflower. I just kind of hang back and check and observe things, and to be thrusted by my own doing, of course, into the frickin' spotlight because of a stupid video I made. It's a little.
Listen, don't sweat it, Chip. You were good. You managed things really good, perfectly, in my opinion, like a gentleman and a scholar, as you are always. So,
and the final thing I'll say is, it really is all my fault anyway. So,
yeah.
Well, but we love you.
We love you anyway, Louis.
Sure do. All right, on that one, we'll hit the outro. Thank everybody for showing up. Appreciate you guys. I hope we answered all your questions, filled all your holes, especially Chip. We'll see you next week.
Later. See you next week. Bye.
Fuck, you guys already saw it? Let me see it. Oh, shit. Oh. Y'all see that?
So, Tyler, do you want to build a snowman to blow away all night? It doesn't have to be a snowman. It can be me.
I'll be clipping that too.